Tim Shaffer, thank you so much for coming on the Inner Edison Podcast. I appreciate you being here today.
Great to be on the show, Ed.
Yeah, we had to eventually make go live because we've been talking about so many different things before we went live, which is typically what happens when you do a podcast. You have a lot of stuff in the green room before you hit the live button. But we've been talking a lot of stuff about companies and failures, and we're going to get into all that here because on Inner Edison, your greatest accomplishments come from your greatest defeats. And that, so a lot of people say if you're not winning, you're learning, right? If some other people's force, it's failure, you got to fail a lot. I don't care how you look at it, just understand you're going to fail. And there's stuff you're going to do that comes across that is not your fault, but you have to deal with it. You own the company. It's your fault, period. So, all right, Tim, we were talking about, before we get into about your company, let's talk about Puerto Rico. All right. How did you find out about this tax? Because we were talking about taxes in Florida, California, and Texas before we went live. And a lot of people think California has a high tax. Our capital gains is 22% here still. We're not any higher. One thing that we're protected is property taxes. Our property taxes is only 1 1/8 to 1 1/4, unless you live in a zone that they have this thing called Melrose, where they didn't do the improvements and you have to pay through a bond. But on average, what they do in California, we have a Prop 13 that says our taxes, no matter how much the house goes up in value a year, can only go up 3% of that. So our taxes double every 30 years, right? They barely go up unless you do, remodel or sell. And now we have a Prop 19 that when you're over 55, you can take your tax. There's a step up, but it's not the same, it's hardly anything compared to having the full tax on a new house. So there's a lot, because everybody talks about how bad California is. The only thing that's bad about California is the fact that Arnold Schwarzenegger loved him to death, but he messed it up. He trying to pass a bill to say the top 2 people need to be on the ballot. He didn't say the top 2 parties. They said the top 2 people. And it went through and got approved. And that's why certain Democrats in certain neighborhoods are always on the thing. There's no Republicans. And of course, they tried to make it to keep Republicans in power, but now it keeps Democrats in power, and that's why we're running into issues.
Yeah.
So that's the problem with California. Texas has other issues where I looked at all the numbers before because I know a lot of people moved to Texas from here, and they're all going, can we move back because it's hot? It's humid. And it's horrible. They don't understand. I went to Fort Sam Houston, Texas. I was there for 3 months for a specialty school. I swore I'd never go back because of that. I've been there other times of the year. It's fine, but it's like everything. If you're going to move somewhere, do it. Move for the year. Don't sell your house wherever you're at. See if you can handle it. And if you can handle it, then sell everything.
Yeah.
And you're in Florida, from what I understand.
Yeah, right? I'm in Florida. I'm in Orlando, Florida, basically. Yes.
Which is humidity.
Humidity, yeah, we have a ton of humidity. We could give some to California if you
want. We have it occasionally, right. And that's enough.
Yeah,
but I mean, this year where I'm at in Modesto, California, we got 113 this year, but it was a dry heat, whatever. It's still. But the problem with humidity is I've been in North Carolina or South Carolina, and it's 95 out and it rains, and you're like, I can't breathe.
It's true. Yes. And we see the steam coming off the roads and yeah.
So before you do anything about your business, just visit there and make sure of it, because we were talking about, but then you brought up this thing about Puerto Rico, right? It was Puerto Rico, correct?
Yes.
About how your tax rate, and is that because it's like territory? That is what
it's a territory of the United States, and they're trying to attract, people to move down there. So we found out about it by, another person that was in the same type of business we are, online businesses. He told us about it. We did some research. At that time, it was Act 22, and now it's Act 60. So if you move there and you spend 183 days there, your effective tax rate for your business is 4%, no capital gains and no dividends. You do have to pay yourself a regular salary, which is usually, depending 50, 60 grand a year. And then within 2 years, you have to buy a residence there, and you have to be a full-time resident there. So the 183 days makes you a full-time resident, and you still own your stuff in the States, but, in essence, it saves you 35% in federal taxes.
On your business and personal, or just on your business?
Yeah, on personal, it's like I said, it's 0% capital gains and 0% on dividends. So
no matter where you live in the States.
in Puerto Rico,
No. I mean, but if you still have property and stuff in the United States, what's the?
Yeah, you can have property in the United States, but the thing is, you have to be a resident of Puerto Rico. So
I understand that. If I'm a resident of Puerto Rico and I have these properties, it's still taxed at what I get taxed at in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I wanted to make sure there wasn't like two separate tax.
No, you're a resident in Puerto Rico, so yeah, so you get taxed out of Puerto Rico.
And how is Puerto Rico?
It's nice generally. I mean, we went there after the hurricane.
What does that mean?
Well, we went there after the hurricane, but we heard like before we got there was a hurricane that went through that knocked out power and stuff for 6 months. So every house has a water cistern and every house has a backup generator. So
or solar.
Yeah, for generally for us, it's been really well. I mean, it's did really well for us, and we do like it. But the distraction is, you're looking out at a beach all the time, and it's so easy to just, you have to be disciplined to work. You can just go out and head to the beach. So,
but if you have businesses where a lot of people have businesses, they just have to manage for a few hours a week or other stuff. This would be a perfect place to live.
It is perfect. And there is a whole community in Dorado down there. I don't live in the Dorado area. I live in San Juan or Rincon on the West Coast. But yeah, there's tons of, they call Rincon Grincon now because all the gringos that are there. So it's how's
the prices there?
It's expensive. I mean, automobiles are definitely more expensive. Houses are expensive.
What's expensive to you?
What's
a typical house? Just a typical 2,000 square foot house.
$500-600 grand.
Okay, that's our starter here.
Yeah, I know in California. Yeah.
The 430 that you don't want to live there because you're ducking.
Right.
The drive-bys.
Yeah.
But yeah, our average. So it's basically like Mexico now. I mean, but the difference is the tax break.
Yeah, the tax break is huge. Yeah.
And how's the weather? I know this is about you, but you brought it up, so I have to talk about it.
So it's beautiful. The weather is beautiful. Actually, it is humid, but it's not. Weirdly enough, it's not as humid as Florida or Texas. Houston is the worst place in Texas to be because
it is. Yes, it is.
My partner lives in Austin. It's not as bad, but it's still bad. But in Puerto Rico, the beautiful thing about it is like the water there only changes like 1 or 2 degrees, so it stays pretty cool. It don't get like Florida when you go to the beach here. You get in the water and it's like super warm.
So what's the average temperature? I mean, do they have like in Puerto Vallarta? Have you ever been to Puerto Vallarta?
Yeah.
So you don't go there from May to until the end of September because it is the rainy season and it's humid. Is that how that Puerto Rico? No, it's a tropical climate, but usually there is a rainy season, but it's only like a couple months, but it's really not that bad. In the winter times, it's beautiful. Like I said, the water temperature only changes a couple degrees, so it's not super warm, but it's just very comfortable. It's much nicer than Florida, the water temperature, but yeah. It must be much closer to you than me. I'm in California, so
it's only from Orlando, a 2-hour flight.
Yeah, so for us that'd be 8 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
Too bad there's not something on this side that do the same thing.
Yeah,
I could go up to Alaska and it'd be Russia.
Exactly.
Because my son was stationed in Alaska. You don't understand how close Russia is to Alaska. That's why it used to be owned by Russia.
Yeah.
And it was right. And it's like that close. And they have constantly the airplanes going in that neutral zone or closer on the other side. And it's like, really? All right. So let's get into your business that we've been talking about, everything else. But it's important when you're setting up a company and doing certain things to look at the tax system. That's why Elon Musk left California and moved his company, or is in the process of moving his companies elsewhere, because of the stupidity of California's school politics, other stuff that comes into play,
Right.
Yeah. And it could get even worse here. This will be a little political, but if this current administration extends itself, we're not going to understand our business climate and anything else. And you're going to see more people going to places like Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Permanently.
Yeah.
So rent has to be like $2,500 to $3,000 a month.
Yeah. 2,500 to 4,000 a month, depending on what you want.
Right. Yeah. I'm just saying, because you got rent for, and you have to buy within 2 years.
Yeah.
Do they do typical mortgages there?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, we work with this guy down there, but I mean, it seems like the same. I mean, I didn't notice any difference. I just ask for all the paperwork, we give it to him.
Right. Yeah, I'm just curious because Mexico's different, totally different.
Yeah. Mexico is definitely different. We used to
Sometimes,
spend a lot of time in Playa del Carmen, but yeah, we're in San Juan.
that's Cancun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a humid place too.
Yeah.
All time of the year. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, it's all everybody's like, is it safe down there? Yes, because the cartels owns all the hotels.
Yeah. They're making the money.
They were like, what? Yeah, they're billionaires. They own the hotels. They own all that stuff.
Right.
They have to put their money somewhere. Yeah.
You got that right.
It's a great way to, launder money if you own a hotel. Yeah.
Especially hotels.
People pay cash all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So how did you get, we were talking beforehand, you have Patriot. So you have two companies.
Yep.
You came through Podmatch, which had about search tires. We'll get into that. How did you get into the space? How long have you been doing this type of companies, or what's your background?
So my background is I was in the automotive industry for 30 years. So I'm still in it. I started young, working on cars. Like, I grew up in the Midwest. So, we at 12 years old, we're working on stuff. We didn't have computers and all this fancy stuff.
So that was late 80s, early 90s?
Yeah, early 80s. I'm 57.
I was just trying to be nice. Sorry.
I'm 57. So we started tinkering around. I started tinkering around with automotive stuff, liked it. Then when I was 15, my dad moved to Boca Raton, Florida, because he worked at IBM. He was an engineer. So culture shock. I moved from a town of 1,600 people to a town of Boca Raton, which is 2,600 people were in my high school. So, but it was a very good thing that happened to me. I learned a lot about culture and stuff like that. I'd never had any of that stuff before, but I still progressed in automotive and I love automotive and everything about it. Once you get into it, I guess there's some in your brain that doesn't let you escape from it. But so I started working for companies, working on cars, and then I went to corporate America and started running companies and worked myself up to a very high level in that, and I love that. And then one day I was skiing in Colorado, 2009, by the way. I'll never forget it. I'm sitting there in a hot tub and I hear a guy talking about kayak behind me, and I'm in the automotive industry. And I'm thinking, why don't we have stuff for tires that tell people how to buy tires and like that? And that's when I initially thought of the idea, and then piggybacked off that. 2011, I really started going to work on that. 2012, I resigned from corporate America, came out of it, and then started getting into that whole thing there. And I can give you a rundown of how the first iteration went up, went down, and all that.
Yeah. People think it's overnight successes. It's multiple failures to overnight successes over time.
Yes.
And again, so I'm in the mortgage industry, which is one of those industries that I enjoyed for many, many years. But because of you have 2006 that happened, I lived through that, and I'm like, okay, that's never going to happen again. Then we had somebody shut down a pipeline, and then inflation happened, and rates went double what they were, and destroyed the whole industry again. And it's like, okay, this is telling me again, you just got slapped in the face. Those other things that you wanted to do, but because you were handcuffed to this industry because it was such easy money, you need to go do now, and you've got a few years to get it done. So.
Yep. So inevitably, the first iteration of this, we spun up, started in 2011, 2013, building this, what we build, this aggregator it takes a lot of time and there's a lot of stuff you learn along the way, but it took about 2 years to build it out. We went to market, got huge praise from a bunch of publications. I was in a bunch of publications. We went out, and the issue was with it is it helped consumers. I was trying to help consumers in brick and mortar, those two things. But the way that it was structured, it was good, but I was trying to please two masters. And by the year of 2016, even changing a lot of stuff, the business just wasn't sustainable. It just wasn't. It was just pay. And we had to shut it down. It was, and not to say the business was a failure. I learned so much from it. But I learned, so you got to learn what not to do. So I learned what not to do in the business. But, being in the business, sometimes it's weird. You're in the business for a long time, and you know what the consumer wants, and you kind of know what the brick and mortar wants. But at the end of the day, it's not about that. And I always tell people this: you have to put something out on the field and let the consumer decide what they want. and not try to always guide to what you want, because it doesn't matter. I was told by a very smart guy one time, he goes, no one cares what you want. You put it out there and it's all about what they want. So what I learned is from that whole process, the people buying tires generally want to know three things: how much, how long, and where are you at? That's all they want to know, because it's a pain in the butt to buy tires. And if I can give them a solution for that. So coming out of that failure, I spent 4.5 years not just thinking about how I can revisit it, because we were in our other businesses doing well. And then we come out with Search Tires, and it's taken about 2 to 3 years to build it up. It's doing really well, but it's all we're concentrating on is taking care of the consumer. We want the consumer. Our average consumer stays on our site 4 minutes and 11 seconds. And there's only a 15% bounce rate, which is unheard of in the business. I mean, it's sticky because people are looking for tires. And all we do is they put their year, make, and model in, and we show them the local tires from their local retailers where they can select it. They can click to call, click to go to the website, or click to get directions, and they can go get their tires put on today. And funny enough, when you look at the site, you'll realize that this is, and we do data, of course, now, and I'm going to explain why. The average, if you take a specific tire, let's say any tire, within 2 miles of another shop, that same tire could be $100 more. Isn't that crazy? $100. So $400 more for the set. And it's only because they don't have accurate data to show them what the market really bears. And which that's what we really do on the back end with retailers. We help them with data to show them what that looks like and what people are paying. So in the front end, it's no cost to the consumer. They can go on, spend 4 minutes, tell their wife they shopped everywhere for the tires, because they did. They looked at all their local retailers, and then they go down and get it put on. And the other thing about that is why I'm passionate about this is because there's a lot of e-tailers. I call them e-tailers, like, the big brands that are online selling tires and then they ship them to the stores. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to get it back to the community-based stores. And even if it's the big brands, all the big brands, Firestone, Discount Tire, Mavis, whatever it is, Big O, you want to get it back to someone that's in the community, supporting Little League teams. They hire people that live in the community, and they pay their taxes, then they rent the building, and they have all the equipment to put the tires on. So I really, and it's a $58.8 billion market. And now 12% of that market is controlled by online e-tailers that ship tires to the store. And then the people that pay all the, all the OSHA, everything, employees and all that stuff, they don't get the tire sale. They just get the installation. And in my mind, there is a place for them online e-tailers for specific tires for people that, are not the random tire, I believe that there's a place for everybody, but for regular people that just need tires, I believe that I want to drive them to the local brick and mortars that support their communities. And that's just my opinion, but that's how I feel. And that's what I'm passionate about. So that's what I'm doing. So, and no cost to them, they go do it.
Well, I think most people after the pandemic want to get local. They want to see that person. They want to go and see them again. It's the same thing with what I'm finding. For the longest time, we used to say, have them come in and have this huge experience. I don't want to waste an hour of their time or my time, but I can talk to them on the phone or through Zoom or whatever, or then they can still come in if they want to, but most people don't, but they still want to have that opportunity to, right? And so I understand that. But I've never heard of, be honest with you, I've never heard of Search Tires. I'm always looking for tires for my truck.
I think people buy from people. I believe that in my head. I mean, I think people really do buy from people. Now, there's other things out there that sell a lot of stuff that's a little bit different. But when you're going to, an average set of tires is over $700 now. When you're going to spend that kind of money, you kind of want to talk to a guy and make sure you're getting the best deal. We save the average customer $180 on a set of tires. And $180 in this day and age pays some bills. Well, not as much as it used to, but it'll pay bills now.
It'll fill up my tank.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a diesel, 31 gallon. Yeah.
Got that F-350.
Yeah. Well, we bought a cabin years ago. I used to drive an Audi, and everybody used to give me a lot of, about driving that. My F-250 is worth way more than my Audi was.
Right, exactly.
But they don't understand that. It's like you'd have no idea. But all right. So if on a business like you have there, where you just said they don't pay for that, how do you make money?
Well, we make money from data, basically. So we're not evasive. We don't collect names, phone numbers, any of that stuff. We don't want any of that stuff. But we know the year, make, and model of their cars. We go nationwide to state to DMA to zip code. So retailers, if they want to know who's buying what and where, they can buy the data and they know what that looks like. So for inventory purposes, they want to do 90-day turns. They know in like your area, where these customers are going and what size tire they're buying. And that data is invaluable to them. And local pricing, and they have all that stuff as well. We have a whole package. We have over 35 dashboards that they can look at live time and make actionable decisions that help their company right then. And on some companies, we can help them retain or be in the marketplace to increase their revenue up to $80 million in a year.
Wow.
So that's what it is. It helps them with data and knowing where they should be on pricing and stuff, and what they should be carrying in their stores so people can go get it today. Because people don't want to wait the 3 days anyway. The average person, they buy the tires within 72 hours once they know it. So
unless it's a unique tire size or whatever, like on an F-250.
Yeah, 37 1250 20s is what's on that.
No, mine's bigger.
Oh, you went bigger than? I mean,
I leveled it. I leveled it, and I have 20. Yeah. So okay. I didn't keep with the stock. So my other one, my 15, I left all stock and left everything on it. And this one, I went a little crazy during the pandemic. I put the big bumpers on it because I almost hit a deer when we go in our cabin. So and the winch and everything else. And everybody's like, winch. My first truck with the winch, I used that winch one time, and thank God I had it, because otherwise,
exactly. Yeah, you gotta have a winch.
Yeah, this other one, I used it to pull stuff out of my front yard.
Yeah, I've been the winches are so, it's crazy. I've been stuck in a river before, and we got up on a tree on the side of it, tied that winch around, and pulled ourselves out. Yep. So you don't know if you need it, but you know when you need it. There's nothing else, no substitute for it.
And what was nice is when I bought those during the pandemic, because a lot of people were buying stuff, they're like, here's a free winch with it. I go, okay, I'll take your winch, but I want to update it to this winch. So what's the difference in price?
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But people love cars. People love tires. People love to do stuff to their car, put new shoes on them, the whole 9 yards. And I was trying to figure out how you made it, but I could see the data, where the money's in the data.
Yeah,
it always is on everything.
We're a data company is what we are, but we get to help the consumer, which I'm passionate about, because it lets them know where they get the best price, where they can save money, and that's proof that we can actually help drive people to stay in the community, let them know where the best places to buy, and then it's a win-win for me. I mean, I love helping people. I mean, that's what I do. So and I always wanted to build this. I mean, like I said, probably in the next couple of years, it's going to be, we have a lot of stuff in play right now. We're coming up with a new iteration and stuff like that. And, I'm sure I'm going to be called an overnight success, but 2009 to 2025, it's not an overnight success. But again, it's all about being resilient, listen to what the market tells you, and then implementing them things. And, sometimes it's hard for people to go against what they think, but I go back to that lesson that I learned, that the people will tell you what they want. You just have to give it to them.
All right. And before you brought up you had other business going. Is that the Patriot one?
Yeah.
So what's the other business?
Patriot Brands. We do marketing for Patriot Supplies. We have our own products. I don't know if you've seen it. It's all over Facebook. We have the Vanish holster, VNSH. Joe Rogan actually liked it. So we've given away a Jeep Gladiator, Chevy Silverado. And
that's the one that pops up?
Yeah.
That you hit with your hip?
Yeah. It's all the holster will fit anything in it, and it's made out of Kydex. It's not Kydex. It's like the stuff that the yoga pants and stuff they wear. So it's super comfortable.
Oh, so this is something totally different. Because I saw one that you put in your vehicle, because I have concealed weapons permits huge in my area.
Yeah.
In our county, our sheriff's like, go get them. I approve all of them unless you got this, and this. So nobody really robs our county because we have 15,000 people with concealed weapons permit in our county. Yep. So, they know that just go to San Jose County, all those other counties who don't allow them.
Yeah. So we do have the thing you're talking about too. I don't know if you're talking about this, but we have the thing that goes in the vehicle that you slide it in, it pulls out.
No, this is a new one I saw. It goes in between your seat and the console, and you hit it with your leg, and it pops up so you can pull it right out.
Wow, I haven't seen that yet. I'll have to look though.
Look for that and make it better. There you go.
Yeah.
It's a great idea. I'm like, that's you can be talking, boom, boom, and you're good to go.
Yeah, because I'm probably like you. I carry too. I got a concealed in Florida. You have to pop open the center console before you reach to grab it. So
I don't. I would just lay it right next to me because I don't have to conceal it.
oh yeah, that's
It's
better.
in the vehicle. It's concealed. I'd put it in a little slot right next to me.
Yeah.
But it would be nice to have some, or right behind the seat. But it'd be nice to have this other thing, which that was the first time I saw it. I was like, that is freaking amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
That
I'll check out your stuff. Just so we know what I'm dealing with. So
yeah. We like that. Patriot brands. We have, like I said.
how did you get into all this Patriot brands and doing the because these are e-stores, correct?
Yeah, the e-stores and yeah, we do. We actually do gun giveaways and stuff too, and do stuff like that. But my partner is the one that. So I have search, and my partner is the one that runs the Patriot brands and all that stuff. And yeah, so he's the one that's into that aspect, and I'm full time over here, and I help with a couple segments over there that we have. But yeah, that's initially what's kept us going, actually, because we've been doing well in that business for years. And it takes a long time to really build up online a reputation and get people to come back and stuff. So I love these videos on YouTube that tells people they can make $1 million like really quick. And none of that stuff's true. You have to work for anything you're going to get. I mean, you might get lucky, but chances are you're going to have to put some effort in.
Yeah, you can build an e-com store and then sell it in 2 years and make money from selling those because people buy them all the time. I hear that all the time. And it probably was true 15 years ago.
Yeah, but there's so many people in it right now. It's like, we see them come and go.
Well, that's like the Amazon stores where there's guys now who are helping people set them up because they're maxed at what they can do. So they come in and help you set up the store so that they can make money off of that and build their brand out even more.
And sell their product on their site. That's what they're doing. They're selling their product on their site. So it's a win-win for them.
Exactly. And they do it and they get you all set up. It doesn't cost you. So now you know. But yeah, it takes a while. I mean, but everything takes time.
Exactly.
Yeah. Everything takes time. And there's trials and tribulations through all of it. And, if I stay in this industry, my next things will take off because I put the time into the point where I know what to do this time. But exactly. I also want to put other stuff in place to have the additional forms. I had a book come out. I do radio. I do podcasts. I do a ton of stuff. It's having that residual income any other way you can get it, just so you have it there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's some things that really don't take a lot of time nowadays. And if you're smart in that niche and you can do things in that niche, do it. Because, the quicker you start it, the quicker it'll take that time and then it'll build up over time. I mean, it's all about the clicks, right? I mean, it's, get more people coming and it's just naturally going to grow.
Tim, can you say that again? You broke up.
I said, it's all about getting people to your side. If you can start something like a side hustle like that or something or whatever you call it, and you're good at that niche, start it and let it build up slowly while you're doing other stuff. And then by the time you know it, it's going to be getting all those clicks and it's just going to grow and grow. As long as you maintain, a good ethical base, it's going to be good. I mean, you take care of your people and take care of your customers, they're going to stick around. Right. It's all them fly-by-nights that try to, do nefarious things that really ruins what they do.
Right. And the difference these days, though, I mean, what social media used to do for you that was really great and free and everything, it's not free anymore. They want you to promote everything. They want you to push everything to get it to I don't know if you've noticed that, but everything. Oh, you didn't do that well. You need to boost this. They want you to pay for everything. And that's even like, I like on TikTok to get to certain, because I've had viral videos that I didn't boost. They just because of certain things. And it's like, okay, well, that's great. But that's not my client. I only want the clients I can help. And you really need to make all that stuff for that one client. And there's other one clients, but you need to niche it to those people. And that's important.
Yeah, it's getting the right client. I mean, it's all about the upgrades. Everybody wants to upgrade everything now. Upgrade, we can do more. So I really believe that they hold people back and they want you to do the boost. So they'll open it up more. I think there's definitely a throttle on it in social media.
Oh yeah, they want you to pay to get what you used to get organically.
Yeah, exactly. I think back in the day, you used to be able to put it out and it would be seen by everybody. But now, when you put something out, they're going to, well, we'll give him this 20-mile radius. And then if he boosts, we'll give him more. So,
yeah. I mean, yeah, that's definitely, I've seen this change in the last 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I mean, I had stuff that shouldn't even went and it would go. And now it's like, okay, well, that's only a few hundred. But if we do this, it makes some changes. But, I'm not, some of those big influencers who their whole thing is to sell you on to be on their site. So they make money off of you watching stuff. And that's how they make their money. It's not what they sell. And that's not what I'm trying to do. So,
yeah, it's like for us in our business, we realized the same thing. We have a sec that we use for influencers, but we've learned through influencers, it's not the biggest influencers that are going to get you the ROI. It's the influencers that have between 100 and 500,000 people, because they seem to be more trusted by their people. It's more of a community, and they listen to them. Well, that's what we found in our niche, is that they listen to those people better. And then the sums that charge all them money and they're that big and they have millions of followers, there's really not for what you have to pay them, that you can't even touch the return that the other ones will give you.
Oh, we'll talk a little bit more after that. Once we get off here. All right, Tim, thanks for being on the show today. Anything else you want to add before we go?
No, I really appreciate it. But if you need some tires, searchtires.com is where we're at.
All right, I'll have that in the notes. If people want to get a hold of you, how do they get a hold of you?
Tim@searchtires.com. I return all my emails every day.
All right. We'll have those in the show notes for you also. Again, thank you so much for being on the show today, Tim.
Thanks so much. Really appreciate it, Ed.